Glad you could hang around with us for a little while.
It's great to be on with you, Mark. We always have a good time here, and it's great to talk with all of your listeners.
We should do this more often.
Absolutely.
I'm just telling you.
Be a pleasure,
get it set up.
It's fun. We got a good team here. Everybody's having a good time.
I'm making Parker squirm back there in the background a little bit.
No,
I'm just teasing you. All right, all right. I did notice I ran an ad earlier this week that Governor Rauner's got going.
Yes.
That's got you in it.
Right.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
He's got somebody from Indiana, Wisconsin, Governor Walker.
Yep, you got Governor Walker from Wisconsin. You got Governor Holcomb from Indiana. All of us saying, look, conservative policies work. Right, and you need to support conservative policies because the fact is, when you don't, you lose out on business. The conservative plan to bring more jobs and higher pay works, and it was a pleasure to do.
Well, I know it was kind of aimed at Mike Madigan, who's the Speaker of the House, if they're to needle him a little bit. Although I don't know that I would call Governor Rauner necessarily a conservative.
No, but the fact is, on the business side, you have to have conservative reforms in order to move a state forward.
Right.
And you have to be willing to take on and defeat the establishment. I mean, one of the things that people have really appreciated about what we've done, they recognize we have angered members of the liberal media. We've upset a lot of the career politicians. We've certainly disappointed and angered a lot of the insiders who because what we've done is we've come in and we've done exactly what we said we were going to do, is that we're fighting for the people of Missouri. And you have to be willing to go in and fight those entrenched interests if you want to do things like grow jobs.
You've also been to Iowa, right,
Yes.
to help the governor over there?
Kim
right?
Reynolds, yes.
It was a fundraiser for her, right?
Yes, so Kim Reynolds, governor of Iowa, she's doing a great job. I was helping Pete Ricketts out in Nebraska, Ed Gillespie in Virginia. You know, when I ran, as you know, I'd never been involved in politics before. I'd never run for office before. And I came in as a Navy SEAL, a conservative, as an outsider. And I got a lot of help from other Republican governors around the country who recognized how important it is for us to move power out of Washington, D.C. and back to the states. And that's why I've been happy to go out and help these other Republican governors in Virginia, Nebraska, Iowa, to make sure that we're bringing that power from D.C. back to the states. And the good news is right now we have 34 Republican governors in the country. The people are speaking very clearly about where we need to go.
So here's the fake news for you. If you go to New Hampshire or you go to Iowa, you have people like the Kansas City Star that suggest you're just there campaigning for president, right?
Absolutely. Look, they're going to make those accusations. I'm governor of Missouri. I'm not running for president. I love this job as governor of Missouri and was happy to go to Iowa, like I said, Virginia, Nebraska, to help strong conservatives stay in power.
Education reform is something we talked about in this studio when you were running. The legislature hasn't given you much of that yet. What are you working on?
Well, we got to keep fighting for education reform to support our students and our teachers. Here are the facts, and many of your listeners know this. If you look from 2009 till 2015, over the course of those 6 years, Missouri dropped 10 places from 28th to 38th in fourth grade reading. Over the course of those same 6 years, we dropped from 23rd to 32nd in 8th grade math. Falling behind in reading, falling behind in math, over half of Missouri school districts don't offer a single advanced placement test. So we have got to do more to get power out of Washington, D.C., away from the bureaucracy and into the classroom. Here's another fact that I think your listeners will appreciate. You know, we've got to support our teachers. Now, Missouri funds at about the national average on education. And in fact, in our budget, even though we had a very, very tough budget situation, we put more money into K through 12 education. For the first time in years, we're fully funding education. Still, in Missouri, our teachers are 47th in pay. 47th in teacher pay. So the fact is we're paying at the national average, but we need to take on the bureaucracy in order to get those funds and get those results, get the power into the hands of parents and teachers at the local level. And we're going to continue to do that.
Which means letting local school boards have more input on curriculum.
Absolutely.
That's often forced down from the top. Maybe we're seeing a change now that Betsy DeVos is Secretary of Education. Have you noticed a change from the federal approach?
I think we've seen some changes there at the federal level. The real fight for us in the state of Missouri is to make sure that we are driving that change and pushing as much power down to school boards, and then even from school boards, Mark, into the hands of parents and teachers. They're the ones who know best. They know their kids best. Sheena and I, we've got two beautiful little boys, Joshua and Jacob. Joshua's 3, Jacob's 1. I just went to Joshua's our first parent-teacher conference. Okay, talk about being nervous, right? There's a lot of challenges, right? But but parents are engaged and teachers are engaged, and they know their students best, and they have got to be empowered. Right now, we've got a situation where the bureaucracy is sucking up far too much energy and far too many funds. We got to get that money into the hands of parents and teachers, and the power into the hands of parents and teachers at the local level.
And it's preparing your workforce, right? That you keep talking about for the future, and how many of those kids that maybe you don't have some of those opportunities for AP courses and all,
right,
they may want to move toward vocational education instead. You got to make sure those opportunities are out there, right?
It's so critical.
Right.
Look, as we move forward, and this is one of the things I was talking about with business leaders today, we've done great work fighting against the trial lawyers, fighting others to create the right environment for business here. The real challenge as we look forward in Missouri is not only to bring jobs, but oftentimes you'll have businesses that have jobs, but they don't have the workers, which is why we have to continue to develop our workforce. And what that also means is that we need to create opportunities in K through 12 education, in our community colleges, in our technical colleges, where we've got a clear pathway into the workforce. I actually think the Obama administration did a lot of damage, and a lot of other folks have, by pushing this idea that every single kid, when they're 18 years old, needs to go to a 4-year university. I mean, I can tell you, I worked with some incredible men and women in the United States military, and that was the right decision for them to go into the military. For others, they want to be able to go to a community college or a technical college. For others, they want to have a pathway straight into the workforce. We need to create those opportunities in our K through 12 education system so that we're preparing our kids for the workforce of the future.
Yeah, you hope so. Legislatively, coming up,
Yes.
when I guess in December they'll start filing bills for
Right.
the next legislative session. What are you pushing for from the governor's office?
Yeah, so a couple things that we're gonna be pushing for. Just like last year, we wanted to see more power into the hands of parents and teachers at the local level. So what that means, for example, is that we want to see education savings accounts, especially for kids who are in foster care, especially for kids who have disabilities. And what this does is it provides parents with the funds that they need to directly help and guide their kids. We have a lot of kids who have disabilities. They also have tremendous potential. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that their parents are able to support them. So, for example, you've got some kids, let's say that you've got a kid who has dyslexia, right? That kid may need a tutor in reading. That same kid might be incredibly gifted in math. And so while they need a tutor to bring them up to the reading level of their peers, they might also be ready, even when they're in junior high or in high school, to be doing college-level math classes. This is just one of the reforms that we can put in place to empower parents. And it's things like that are really important.
How about beyond education? Are there other things you're anxious for the legislature to take up?
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple things we've been working on is making this the best state in the country for veterans. We want this to be the best state in the country for veterans. So two important pieces of legislation we're pushing. One is that when our veterans come home, we want to make sure that we're eliminating all startup fees if they want to start a business. If they come home and they want to start a business in the state of Missouri, we know they've got energy, they've got talent. They might not have a lot of money. They might not have a lot of capital. We want to remove all barriers so that they can come back and easily start those businesses. That's number one. The second thing, and this is really important, and I may reach out to you and to many of your listeners to make sure we get this done, is that we need to get a veteran hiring preference passed in the state of Missouri. So right now in Missouri, if you're a business and you put out the word that you want to hire veterans, that you actively want to recruit and support and affirm these men and women who are coming back with these skills and abilities, trial lawyers can sue you, force you into court to defend your life's work, to defend your business. Now, the Federal Civil Rights Act says it is legal to have a preference for hiring veterans if the state has passed a law saying that it's okay. The majority of states have done this, but Missouri hasn't. This is something we've got to get done. It's good for our business community and essential for our veterans. And again, this is the kind of thing that we're going to be pushing to make sure it gets done next year.
A couple more things I wanted to get to before we run out of time here, Governor. On the issue of Maria Shapal-Nadal, the senator who made the tweet about the assassination of the president, I was sorely disappointed that our legislature didn't take enough action to expel her. Instead, it was effectively a censure, a slap on the wrist. How'd you feel about that?
Look, we were really clear. I thought that it was a terrible thing when you have a senator calling for the assassination of the president of the United States of America. And we were also very clear on what our position was, which we thought that she shouldn't be serving as a senator. Now, it's up to the senators to take that action, and they failed to do so. Yeah,
that was a shame. I was trying to think. I had one other thing I wanted to ask about, and it has completely slipped my mind. I was thinking about Senator Maria Shapal-Nadal, and then there was something. Oh, yeah, I know what it was. City-county merger, very quickly. Do you have a feeling do you support the idea of the city and the county merging in St. Louis County?
Well, one of the things I've been working on is that there's a lot of places for us to cooperate in, especially in the police and the fire service. So we've been working very closely with the public safety community. You already have the city of St. Louis and St. Louis County. They share resources on the bomb squad, on certain investigation units, certain SWAT team functions. The city of St. Louis Fire Department, one of the best fire departments in the country. There are ways for us as we move forward to create better services, I believe, and greater protection at lower costs for people as we move forward. So while the city and the county, this is really kind of an issue for the mayor and the county executive to continue to work on, and I know they are. From our perspective, from the state, we're absolutely happy to facilitate those kinds of public safety partnerships as they move forward.
Yes or no, would you want to see those lines erased between the city and the county?
I think we have to look really closely at how they would do this. Yeah. I think a lot of people have put in a lot of good work on this, and what I'm supportive of, for sure from our perspective, from the state perspective, is this increased public safety cooperation, and I think that will demonstrate ways that we can work together and save money.
Missouri Governor Eric Greitens, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Mark. Pleasure to be with you, as always.
Always good talking to you. Thank you. All right.